it is so helpful to just know where to look to find the solutions to the discomfort, the agitation, frustration. And we back. We out here. And I still got this gnarly cold. Can't stop, won't stop though. Got daily podcasts, sling, and my favorite subject. And if anything, this is a solace from the insanity of this long cold and the fact that I can't hear out of my left ear. And I can only barely hear out of my right. That's never happened to me before, but as I said maybe 2 or 3 days ago, we will persevere. And it brings so many cool reflections to light. I mean, coming up with episodes during this cold has been so kind of on autopilot. As the philosophy is described, it's both a gym and a hospital. When you are going through it, not that I'm going through it, but when you're really going through it, death of a loved one, sickness, loss of stability in some major way, this thing is a friggin' hospital. Heals you right up. Just offers you really valuable shift in perspective when you need it most. But it's also a gym. When things are going great, it builds in and reinforces the strength building for you to help them continue to go great, or for you to prepare for when things won't always go great, to where then you can handle it. Life hits you and you're like, yeah, I can actually lift this quite easily. And this cold, like I said, it provides some good fodder for different philosophical reflection. One of those is on the phrase that Swami will say quite often, which is, it's always you. So in the midst of a cold where you're like, God, I wish I could hear out of my left ear, and I wish this throat didn't feel like there were knives every time I swallowed, especially through the night. That's when it's most annoying, trying to sleep. But this phrase, it's always you, it's helpful reorientation perspective. You can use it in a handful of scenarios, especially in conflict with someone else, or when you're like, God, these people that work right next to me, they're so loud. This phrase of it's always you reorients the spotlight back on you. Can't handle your relationship with your brother, it's always you. Your mother, it's always you. Coworker, it's always you. Situation with just a matter-of-fact circumstance, you got a gnarly cold. Agitates you, frustrates you, it's you. It's not the cold. This is such a strange reorientation for us when we first hear it, because we're like, no, my comfort is always dependent on external circumstance. And then you start to entertain this concept that excruciating relationship with that coworker. You start to say, well, maybe it's not them. Maybe there's some value to saying it's me. Then you recognize, oh yeah, I guess we both want the same promotion. Or I guess, man, they're getting in the way of me executing my goals so that I can get that promotion. That boss, oh, they're getting in my way of how I would want to do it. Oh, that cold, that limits me from being able to do X, Y, or Z that I really want to do. You follow that line of thinking back in a minute into exploring this concept. It's always you with whatever might be happening in life. You think is frustrating you because of some external circumstance. 60 seconds of imaginative exploration of how it could be you. You get back to, oh, it's my desire for X, Y, or Z. that's causing this suffering, this frustration. My desire for good sleep. Oh, if I don't get good sleep, then those 3 important meetings in the morning, they might go haywire. I really want them to go really well because I need this to happen at work because I accidentally bought a house I can't afford. It's always us. I want my brother or my friend to not be so annoying right now because, well, my assessment of life is life should be polished free of any blemishes, should be perfect. That is a terribly inaccurate assessment of what life is. As we say on the podcast often, the world, as defined in Vedanta, is opposites. You can't have a world, an experience. You can't have time without variation. That's why they call it a second. There's one event and a second event. A second later. If it was all one thing, it wouldn't be life. It wouldn't be the world. It'd be monolithic. With no variation, it would not be an experience. And if we improperly expect the world to be a certain way, and it's not that way, that's on us. You open your eyes and you expect the sky to be purple and it's blue. Really pisses you off. That's on you. It's misassessment. Whether it's misassessment or it's just good old-fashioned desire, it is us. And what really, really sends this message home is Swamiji's usage of the word always. Right in between the other 2 words. It's always you. It's not just sometimes you. It's not just, oh, in this circumstance, you got that huge disagreement with your spouse that's causing a whole lot of stress in your household. Maybe this time it's you. Oh, no, mon frere. It's always you. Take it or leave it. Leave this concept up on the shelf if you don't buy it, if it just sounds ridiculous. Or maybe entertain it, kick the tires. See if you are always in control of changing that inner state that you think is being controlled by external circumstance. Whether it's misassessment of what life is, whether it is the myriad of desires that have tied you up into a knot, where, as defined in this philosophy, stress is just unfulfilled. It's mental agitation from unfulfilled desire. Get rid of the desire and you have no mental agitation because there is no unfulfilled desire, interrupted desire to cause any. So maybe jot it down, reflect on it, see if there's any truth to this wild claim that it is always us. And I know in the midst of the discomfort of this cold, it is so helpful to just know where to look to find the solutions to the discomfort, the agitation, the frustration, the unnecessary pain and suffering on top of just what might be happening in that moment with the knives in the throat, with all of the mental agitation of what is this going to do to my sleep? What is this going to do to the ability to talk tomorrow in some meeting that I need? And you get to assess, you get to diagnose what's really going on with so much more clarity when you know where to look. There are very few succinct principles throughout this philosophy, throughout any philosophy I've ever come across that can be as effective, empowering, clarifying, and useful as the phrase, "It's always you," in the midst of conflict or frustration. And that's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.